I found myself in bed, a common location for me, and was struck by a thought. There are 48 laws of power and 16 types. That's 3 laws per type. So 2 laws they could do really well if they wanted to, and 1 law they struggle with and should do better. Each law will be used only 1 time, but rest assured, any type can use any law. So please don't put any restraints on your insatiable quest for power. ESTP. Number 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. When turning to an ally for help, do not bother to remind him of your past assistance and good deeds. He will find a way to ignore you. Instead, uncover something in your request or in your alliance with him that will benefit him, and emphasize it out of all proportion. He will respond enthusiastically when he sees something to be gained for himself. Pure pragmatism. They do that well. It's about making moves that work. That's it. Does this make sense to the person or not? That is the filter through which they navigate interpersonally. Their own preferences set to one side, which makes them far more effective in deal-making and negotiation. Number 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall. That weakness is usually an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion or need. It can also be a small, secret pleasure. Either way, once found, it is a thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage. Pressure points are an ESTP specialty. It's almost animalistic with them. It might be a body language cue they spot, or discomfort of some kind. Any indication of weakness is noticed and, if they wish, pounced on. Number 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. The moment of victory is often the moment of greatest peril. In the heat of victory, arrogance and overconfidence can push you past the goal you'd aimed for, and by going too far, you make more enemies than you defeat. Do not allow success to go to your head. There is no substitute for strategy and careful planning. Set a goal, and when you reach it, stop. ESTPs are often not even operating with a goal in mind, so it's kind of easy for them not to know when to stop. Their relentless nature can get them into trouble and eventually undermine them. ISTP. Number 4. Always say less than necessary. When you're trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. Even if you are saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The taciturn nature of the ISTP is legendary. What they lack in verbosity, they make up for in quiet observation and calculation. They are watching, listening, and sizing you up. They come across as enigmatic because they give so little away. People project onto them things to fill those gaps. This gives them a mysterious mystique. And power. Number 23. Concentrate your forces. Conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, find the one key patron, the fat cow who will give you milk for a long time to come. ISTPs are pointed in their focus and economical in their action. It is natural for them to be precise and specific in their attacking mindset. Nothing is wasted. Number 1. Never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Extreme competence in combination with a disdain for office politics makes them likely to violate this law. ISTPs want to be great at the skills they have, thinking, naturally, that this will endear them to people. Often, it will, but it can threaten people too. INFJ. Number 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have an overwhelming desire to believe in something. Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. Keep your words vague but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. Give your new disciples rituals to perform. Ask them to make sacrifices on your behalf. In the absence of organized religion and grand causes, your new belief system will bring you untold power. INFJs throughout history have been known to gain a following, let's say. They can appear strangely saintly. People like to be led because people like certainty. When someone projects that, there is a natural tendency to follow them, instead of people putting that pressure on themselves, which in many ways would be better. INFJs can evoke or provoke the desire in people to follow. Number 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. Soften up the resistant by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you. INFJs are, underneath it, quite calculating. Their TI targets the mind while their FE appeals to the heart. It's a deadly combination when it comes to persuasion. Number 46. Never appear too perfect. Appearing better than others is always dangerous, but most dangerous of all is to appear to have no faults or weaknesses. Envy creates silent enemies. It is smart to occasionally display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. Only gods and the dead can seem perfect with impunity. That saintly demeanour of the INFJ can backfire. People resent it because they feel lesser by comparison. INFJs, if they're pursuing power, would do well to craft some stories about their flaws and failings, just in case they're coming across a bit too well. ENFJ. Number 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe, ask indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There is no occasion that is not an opportunity for artful spying. Few types do interpersonal espionage better than the ENFJ. They can chameleon their way through any situation, hang with any sect, and do just as well in one-on-one revealing conversations as they can in groups where interactions are more playful and superficial. If they want to know a secret, they'll find it. Then, should they wish, they can use it too. Number 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. There are many different kinds of people in the world, and you can never assume that everyone will react to your strategies in the same way. Deceive or outmaneuver some people, and they will spend the rest of their lives seeking revenge. They are wolves in lamb's clothing. Choose your victims and opponents carefully. Then, never offend or deceive the wrong person. Some types roll the dice when it comes to an edgy joke, or a quip that comes at someone's expense. ENFJs are reluctant to ever do this. They know the dire consequences of a social misstep. Often in life, success comes from the mistakes we avoid, and ENFJs are masters at avoiding these kinds of mistakes. Number 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping the drowning man, but you're only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. So you sit at a bus stop, or go to the bar on a night out, or waiting in line, or just minding your own business in the most innocuous of circumstances. Then, someone, somehow, ends up telling you their life story. That is the life of the ENFJ. It makes them able to connect with anyone and build a powerful social network, but it also attracts people who radiate negative energy. ENFJs should be mindful of such people, and avoid them like the emotional plague they are. ENTP. Number 25. Recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image, instead of letting others define it for you. Few types are more transformative than the ENTP. They do this with intention because it makes sense, but they would also do it naturally even if there weren't obvious advantages. The moment things threaten to become stale, they will move on, even if that's from previous versions of themselves. Number 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective. But if you can make your enemies angry while staying calm yourself, you gain a decided advantage. Put your enemies off balance. Find the chink in their vanity through which you can rattle them, and you hold the strings. The best competitive advantage that ENTPs have is their capacity to handle chaos. When you have that power, and want power, dragging other people into chaos makes sense. Suddenly, they're fighting on your terrain, and probably have a disadvantage because of it. Number 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Any momentary triumph you think you've gained through argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions, without saying a word. Demonstrate. Do not explicate. ENTPs would do well to employ someone to bite their tongue for them. Although rhetoric is a powerful tool when it comes to influencing people en masse, words rarely change a person's mind in direct confrontation. It's hard for ENTPs to resist because words are a weapon for them. Words can be a sword without a hilt though. There is no safe way to grasp it. INTP. Number 20. Do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. The INTP brand of independence usually centers around how they think. Convention in that area is outlawed. They don't like to be boxed in or committed. They are natural skeptics who would rather be wedded to that philosophically, but it extends beyond that too. Their ability to detach and not ally themselves easily with people is a massive advantage. Number 3. Conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you're up to, they cannot prepare a defense. Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in enough smoke, and by the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. I've mentioned in many videos that INTPs have an enigmatic vibe. The gulf between the complexity of their thoughts and their outward demeanor is enormous. You'd never guess what they were thinking, or what their intentions are. They are sphinx-like, and it's a powerful weapon. Number 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. No one likes feeling stupider than the next person. The trick, then, is to make your victims feel smart, and not just smart, but smarter than you are. Once convinced of this, they will never suspect that you have ulterior motives. INTPs often take pride in their intellect. If they're not careful, their ego can become entwined with their brain power. When that's the case, they will lose the ability to make other people feel intellectually superior, which is an essential skill on the road to power. Making people feel stupid is almost always a bad move. ISFJ. Number 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people depend on you for their happiness and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. Never teach them enough so that they can do without you. ISFJs are needed by the people in their life. Their routines, rituals and habits become aligned with those that best help the people around them. The role of supporter is glove-like in its fit for them. People can't do without them. This happens naturally, but should they wish, they can weaponize it too. Number 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert to potential attacks and thwart them before they happen. Although they're definitely not natural marketers, their unwavering consistency in the way they approach life leads to a powerful reputation. That kind of thing cannot be faked. Number 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. All the high FE types have problems when it comes to direct and blunt honesty. They prefer to wrap things up in a palatable package when possible. Fortunately, honesty can be a tool of endearment as well. Self-deprecation can obscure your desire to climb the greasy pole of power. A mild critique might make your previous false compliments seem more sincere and believable. ESFJ. Number 24. Play the perfect courtier. The perfect courtier thrives in a world where everything revolves around power and political dexterity. He has mastered the art of indirection. He flatters, yields to superiors, and asserts power over others in the most oblique and graceful manner. Learn and apply the laws of courtiership, and there will be no limit to how far you can rise in the court. This law is the epitome of FE when directed towards power. It's about social gracefulness, public perception, and communal calculation. It's a fluid and amorphous mode. ESFJs do this without trying. When they are trying, they're dangerous. Number 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. They will find a way to punish you for making them feel inferior. It is far safer to blend in and nurture the common touch. Share your originality only with tolerant friends and those who are sure to appreciate your uniqueness. Underneath their outward appearance, you will find someone who is highly opinionated. You wouldn't guess it if you didn't know them well, but it's there. Being able to put that aside around people, when needed, is a real strength, one that many people fail at. Number 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. Being so heavily invested in their relationships brings a big risk. They can be blindsided. Other people might not have the same emotional attachment that they do. Also, I think having NI blind spot means they are less likely to spot the insidious schemers of the world. ENTJ. Number 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single, strong individual. The stirrer. the arrogant underling, the poisoner of goodwill. If you allow such people room to operate, others will succumb to their influence. Do not wait for the troubles they cause to multiply. Do not try to negotiate with them. They are irredeemable. Neutralize their influence by isolating or banishing them. Strike at the source of the trouble, and the sheep will scatter. ENTJs want to cut the head off the snake. They want that one-on-one battle with whoever they are up against. Think of it like two leaders of an army meeting on the battlefield among the carnage. That's what they want, and often do. After all, it is the most efficient route. Number 35. Master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem patient, as if you know that everything will come to you eventually. Become a detective of the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times, the trends that will carry you to power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe, and to strike fiercely when it has reached fruition. Both in their organizational and logistical genius, and their innate sense of the cultural zeitgeist, ENTJs can count timing as among their chief attributes. It's a delicate art for such a bulldozing type, but they do it well. Number 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What happens first always appears better and more original than what comes after. If you succeed a great man, or have a famous parent, you will have to accomplish double their achievements to outshine them. Do not get lost in their shadow, or stuck in a past not of your own making. Establish your own name and identity by changing course. ENTJs are confident people. The prospect of outdoing someone, even if that person did well, is something they jump at, but that is often foolish. It can be better to let someone else step in, watch them fail, and not measure up, then be the one to step in and save the situation. INTJ. Number 29. Plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. You'd be amazed at how many people do not plan the end game. It's important to adapt and improvise when needed, but if you have a plan and intend to carry it out, the ending really is the most important part. INTJs always make sure that there's a happy ending. For them. Number 26. Keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise your involvement. INTJs are great at outsourcing things in such a way that each part of the spiderweb knows nothing of any other part, or that there's a spiderweb at all. In a word, minions. Number 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. This one is a risk for any highly introverted type, but especially for INTJs, who can be profoundly asocial. Because they can get wrapped up in their sometimes esoteric pursuits, an unwitting ivory tower can form around them. Nothing good ever comes from that, unless your enemies are allergic to ivy. ISFP. Number 16. Use absence to increase respect and honour. Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, even more admired. You must learn when to leave. Create value through scarcity. This law can be used effectively by any introvert, but ISFPs are the masters of it. They are individualists, or in other words, people who don't feel quite at home in groups. They tend away from the collective, and anytime you pull away, it creates intrigue. So use it. Number 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. This one is connected to the underlying reasoning of the previous point. When you're good at pulling away and being independent, it creates space between you and other people, a void of sorts. Often, people will bridge the gap and come to you. After that happens, you can decide what you want to do with them. Number 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you carry yourself will often determine how you're treated. In the long run, appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself, and inspires the same sentiment in others. By acting regally and confident of your powers, you make yourself seem destined to wear a crown. ISFPs often come across as humble. They are understated and underrated. But this comes with an obvious cost. People don't treat them as well as they might. Sometimes you have to act the part, or carry yourself in such a way that implies you deserve the part. ESFP. Number 6. Court attention at all cost. Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd then, or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all cost. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colourful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses. This law is even more applicable in the modern age. Even a bad reputation can be rehabilitated into something better, or at least more interesting. ESFPs have an innate ability to get attention, both on the small and large scale. They are equally adept at being reactive and proactive in achieving this. The more skills and talents they have, the easier they get it. But they can get a long way based on sheer force of personality. Number 28. Enter action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one honours the timid. No other type does all in better than the ESFP. The combination of SE force and FI belief in what they're doing is virtually unstoppable. Ask and you shall receive. Sometimes it's that simple. And if asking doesn't work, just demand it. Number 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. By acknowledging a petty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more attention you pay an enemy, the stronger you make him. And a small mistake is often made worse and more visible when you try to fix it. It is sometimes best to leave things alone. If there is something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. ESFPs are driven by desire, sometimes to a fault. If they want something, they go for it. But if that thing is fundamentally out of reach, seeking it can be at best a waste of time, and at worst, something very psychologically damaging. ENFP. Number 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Behaviour that seems to have no consistency or purpose will keep them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to explain your moves. Taken to an extreme, this strategy can intimidate and terrorise. Certainty is a linchpin of people's sanity. The regular and routine are pillars on which psychological security is built. When you take this away from people, even in small areas, it can throw them off in really profound ways. It's like the archetype of the Joker, someone whose behaviour is so divorced from the expected that all bets are off. ENFPs can pull the rug from under people in a brilliant way, robbing them of sure footing. Number 37. Create compelling spectacles. Striking imagery and grand symbolic gestures create the aura of power. Everyone responds to them. Stage spectacles for those around you then, full of arresting visuals and radiant symbols that heighten your presence. Dazzled by appearances, no one will notice what you're really doing. ENFPs are easy to spot in person because, more often than not, conversations with them are fun and lively. There is a playful electricity that buzzes around them. If they get more organised and intentional with this trait, they can really blow people away with their creations, their creativity, or just the spectacle of their own charisma. Number 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Everyone understands the need for change in the abstract, but on the day-to-day level, people are creatures of habit. Too much innovation is traumatic and will lead to revolt. If you're in a new position of power, or an outsider trying to build a power base, make a show of respecting the old way of doing things. If change is necessary, make it feel like a gentle improvement on the past. ENFPs want innovation to the point of revolution. Most people, most of the time, are not ready for this. But everyone likes to think they're ready, or be seen as someone who's ready. So they'll enjoy the rhetoric of change, but will be reticent when it comes to the action of it. ENFPs should be careful not to gain enemies by forcing change too quickly, but wax lyrical about it, by all means. Radical change makers often get, well, swatted. INFP. Number 32. Play to people's fantasies. The truth is often avoided because it is ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to truth and reality unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. INFPs, both literally and metaphorically, can evoke the feeling of being lost in a great book. They take you to a different place, often a better place. That is something that everyone needs in their life from time to time. If you can give people that, and INFPs can, you can gain immense power. Number 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him the satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. INFPs are masterful at diffusing aggression. Their disdain for it and immovability in the face of it make the aggressor both look and feel stupid. Number 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. The mirror reflects reality, but it is also the perfect tool for deception. When you mirror your enemies, doing exactly as they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. The mirror effect mocks and humiliates them, making them overreact. By holding up a mirror to their psyches, you seduce them with the illusion that you share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. INFPs want to be themselves, and spend a lot of effort trying to find out exactly who that is. Sometimes, though, the pragmatic move is to reflect people back to them, and put your own individual desires and reactions to one side. ISTJ. Number 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel they're in control, but are actually your puppets. Give people options that come out in your favour, whichever one they choose. Force them to make choices between the lesser of two evils, both of which serve your purpose. Put them on the horns of a dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn. ISTJs can be control freaks, and by can be, I mean often are. They can easily position themselves as gatekeepers, making people abide by their rules and play on their terrain. Number 40. Despise the free lunch. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. What has worth is worth paying for. By paying your own way, you stay clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. It is also often wise to pay the full price. There is no cutting corners with excellence. ISTJs are natural skeptics who believe that most of what is good in life is hard-earned. They are the least likely to be taken in by shiny things. In their mind, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Number 48. Assume formlessness. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept the fact that nothing is certain and no law is fixed. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and formless as water. Never bet on stability or lasting order. Everything changes. With ISTJs, you know where you stand. That is a good thing. But enemies will exploit it. ISTJs would do well to mix it up from time to time. Sometimes doing something completely random is a good move to keep people guessing. ESTJ. Number 15. Crush your enemy totally. All great leaders since Moses have known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they've learned this the hard way. If one ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smoulders, a fire will eventually break out. More is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. ESTJs get the job done. When they have a rival, competitor, or enemy, they will want them to be vanquished totally. For them, there is no such thing as a job partially done. They do this law very well. Number 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the wisdom, knowledge, and legwork of other people to further your own cause. Not only will such assistance save you valuable time and energy, it will give you a godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten, and you will be remembered. ESTJs are the archetypical bosses of the world. Getting groups of people to work as well-oiled machines is seemingly easy for them. Should they wish to weaponize that in the name of power, it wouldn't be hard. Number 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. All the toil and practice that go into them, and also all the clever tricks, must be concealed. When you act effortlessly, as if you could do much more. Avoid the temptation of revealing how hard you work. It only raises questions. Teach no one your tricks, or they will be used against you. Anyone who has an ESTJ in their life will know how hardworking they are. That is a good thing. It's impressive. A magician once told me that when doing a card trick or magic trick of any kind, you should never make it look like it's hard to do, that it took skill and practice. That would break the illusion. Instead, make it look smooth and seamless. ESTJs would do well to take the same approach, sometimes. This channel has a Patreon page, on which is posted exclusive written content very regularly. If you would like to support the channel and access that content, then follow the link on screen.